I'm now joined by Hope Mashele, a board member of the South African Association of Energy Efficiency. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Dan.
How serious is this delay for our power needs?
It is extremely serious. Eskom has been warning us of their margins, operating margins, which are supposed to be at about 15% of generating capacity, so that they are able to respond to any type of emergency or breakdowns of any of the power stations. Yeah. So for 15% is about a general and accepted international standard for having an operating margin. During this time, we've been operating at there's one stage we were operating at a margin of about 2%, which is extremely dangerous because if one of the power stations or one of the units at any of our power stations then fail, that would put even more strain on our network. So in essence, the delay on the 800 megawatt unit is not the size of the problem, is not 800 megawatts, it's actually much bigger than that.
Okay, we were all excited, hoping that, sometime this year, the latter part of this year, we're going to have Medupi brought on stream and our grid will be more stable and improve the capacity. But it looks like this delay might take us to the second part of next year, according to Eskom. What do we do in the meantime? I mean, from an efficiency perspective, I mean, we need electricity, we use it for production, for our homes and everything else.
Even before we get to that, I think it's always good to put things into context. To put Medupi is going to be the fourth largest power station, coal-fired power station in the world. It's using extremely advanced technology that hasn't been implemented many places in the world. That is one part. The second part is, normally to build a power station the size of Medupi takes between 9 to 10 years. We have fast-tracked the whole thing to be able to obviously deliver as soon as possible for the country's energy security. That is the context of the engineering feat that South Africa is currently embarking upon. Be that as it may, we did make the decision to start building the power stations pretty late, and therefore energy security is now an issue. So in as much as we need to congratulate the current progress that has been done, we need to acknowledge that we need to do more for energy security in our country. Blackouts cause a huge amount of economic distress. And the last time we had blackouts, we had a situation where the economy was growing. And therefore, in the context that we're in right now, in the recession that we're in, we will be unable to sustain any type of economic growth. In fact, we will fall into a negative growth that we will have a huge challenge in getting out of. So blackouts or any type of load shedding will not serve South Africa in any way. Therefore, the alternatives that we have to look at, and from the context of the South African Association of Energy Efficiency, we need to be looking at an emergency type situation, a very critical emergency type situation.
What kind of measures you would need for that emergency type situation?
The first thing is that we're very fragmented. There's a lot of departments that are doing a whole lot. Obviously, through the leadership of the Department of Energy, and then their operating arm, which is an extension arm, which is Eskom. We need to coordinate all efforts, not just from a funding perspective, but also from an activity perspective. The banks have got a whole lot of funds that they have as well, which they are trying to push towards the green economy and trying to grow the green economy. But energy efficiency has always taken the back seat due to just this fragmentation type environment. So we're not coordinating all our energy efficiency activities as well as we can. There's also the small aspect of everybody is being implored to save energy as a good citizen should, as a good company should, as good practice. But if that fails, we need to be able to move towards legislation or even stronger punishment when people do not comply.
What about alternative sources of energy? I know time doesn't allow us, but we keep on hearing about them as part of our future scenario in making sure that we improve our energy supply.
The current scenario, the current DOE process, whereby the whole bidding process...
DOE is the Department of Energy?
Department of Energy, sorry about that. The whole process that the DOE has basically followed is going to introduce a huge amount of renewable resources into our grid. It does take time. It's also not an immediate activity. But in terms of energy efficiency, we deal mainly on the existing infrastructure. And our infrastructure in South Africa is extremely old. We're also one of the most energy intensive countries in the world. Even when you look at developing countries, other developing countries that we can compare even our natural resources with, we find that we are more energy intensive than them. And that is because we've always had this cheap energy. And so organizations from mining, industry, even the simplest type of building, houses, commercial buildings, we either have a very old system or a very old system that is still using very energy intensive mechanisms. I think the time has come for us to contextualize and understand that if we don't do it on our own, voluntarily, we need to know that the government will have to act. And for the sake of energy security, it'll have to be legislation.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll have to leave you there. That's Hope Mashele, a board member of the South African Association of Energy Efficiency. And